Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Drop Loud Pod. I'm Edik Perbikin, joined as always by my graceful, gracious, and great co-host, Nathan. How you doing?
Doing great, Edik. Watching you really flex your vocabulary is always the highlight of my day. Can't complain. Just happy to have Edik back in the metaphorical podcasting booth after his long break. We knocked out an episode recently. We're able to knock out another one now. Excited to get back on the grind. We were just able to talk some French Open, some Wimbledon, but luckily for us, that crappy fake sport that is grass court tennis is now in the past. Real tennis returns with the hard courts. No more scamming 50 aces and watching balls skid under people's feet all day. Um, thank goodness for all. So we've got the American hard court season. I know I said in the last podcast I don't mind waking up in the middle of the night to watch tennis. It does not mean it's my preference. I much prefer when it's on in normal American hours. So very excited to watch the hard court swing, and we are already a little bit into it. First and foremost, I would like your thoughts on this schedule that has players with an incredibly fast transition. They were just over in Hamburg, Germany, playing on the clay, and the next week they're right into Washington, D.C. and Los Cabos playing hard court tennis. Uh, Per usual, tennis being ruthless, giving the players no time, no breaks. We've seen a gazillion players complain about it on many different platforms. How do you feel about it as both a fan and as a guy that's competed at a high level?
Yeah, listen, it's a quick turnaround, and that's why you see so many top players skip Cincinnati and, for that matter, skip DC as well. So, I mean, it's very tough, right? And even someone like Jordan Lee, like we talked about, he wins Wimbledon and then all of a sudden he's given a wild card into the qualifying of DC. It's an extremely quick turnaround, especially going from grass to hard court, right? So, I commend these players, and a lot of them have been able to make the switch quickly. But you see other people like Alex Demonar, Tommy Paul, who were getting married, right, in this 1 week break, and then they're back on the court in DC, and boy, are the married boys struggling. Uh,
Yeah,
and the American guys are struggling too, except for
uh,
Taylor Fritz. You
oh,
know,
everyone's struggling. Nakashima's having a decent time, but speaking of that transition, everybody's struggling. We did get Jordan Lee. First of all, do you think he should have had a wild card into the main draw, or do you agree that the qualifications was more than generous enough? Obviously, it's a USTA run tournament. We've seen from kind of the way they completely dismantled the mixed doubles format at one of their own tournaments, the US Open, that they have quite a bit of leeway and power to do whatever they may please whenever they may please. Would you have liked to see Jordan maybe get a main draw wild card, automatically collect those 25 ATP Tour points that come with it, and maybe a lot of opportunities? Or do you think that the qualifications was still a very fair opportunity for him?
yeah, I think that it's hard to warrant a wild card into the main draw when you're giving someone like Kenny Shikori a wild card into the main draw. I mean, it's completely two different realms, right?
Yeah,
And but he had an opportunity to qualify, so I think that was very fair.
yeah.
I was very upset that Kenny Shikori didn't get a wild card into the main draw at Cincinnati. That I didn't like.
Well,
And
surely he didn't lose in the qualifying to Michael Zhang like 6-3, 6-1. That would be terrible.
he sure
He did, by
did.
the way. Yeah.
Sure
And
did.
Michael Zhang is an absolute menace that we can discuss later on as well. But yeah, so Jordan Lee gets that qualifying wild card. He loses in the first round to world number 151, Mose Esharjli, 7-5, 6-3, I believe. Put up a great fight for a kid that just turned 16 years old. He's going to be one to watch out for, as we've said. On the other side, they also gave a wild card to the Wimbledon boys final runner up, Cruz Hewitt, who I predicted to be a top 100 player by the end of the year. He started the year around 900, did absolutely nothing of remote significance the entire year, kind of floundered his way up to number 612, facing Dusan Lajovic, a very established player who I've watched win a title beating Novak Djokovic and Andre Rublev before. Uh, he comes out in the first round and immediately calls an MTO for his leg 3 games in, plays another 2 games, calls another MTO for his leg, plays another 2 games, retires. Credit to Cruz. If he was a terrible tennis player, say you put me out there, Dusan Lajovic could have been on crutches and still won 0-0. So Cruz didn't have to, Cruz still had to do something. He makes it through that qualifying match, grabs a couple points, gets to the qualification finals. He's playing American Zachary Spida, a very solid player who just saw the round of 16 at the French Open. And honestly gave a little struggle to future finalist Flavio Caboli and top 10 player somehow. Um, Zach Spida goes up 6-1, 3-0, 30 love. It's over for Cruz, except for the fact that little known to anybody except for Zach Spida, he had hand, foot, and mouth disease the entire time. Disease might be a strong word because I believe it only lasts a couple weeks. But Zach Spida, struggling with serious illness, completely tanks out. Cruz once again, much like Juan Manuel Cerundolo at the French Open, down 2 sets and 5-1 to center, playing a significantly hampered player, but you still have to hang in mentally and you still have to do your thing. Manages to push out all the way back, wins the tiebreaker in that set 7-6, and then comes out in the third, and Zach Spida quickly tails off, retiring down 2-1 or 3-1. Put Cruz Hewitt into the main draw of DC. 25 ranking points up for grabs in the first round. He's now 502 in the world. Facing American Marcos Giron, a very established player once again, a mainstay in the top 100. And what does Cruz do other than win in straight sets without even facing as much as a break point to make it to the second round 6-3, 6-4, easy victory. To move up to 348 in the world, has Edik sweating bullets over there, where he runs into a guy that he's been hitting with since he was like 5 years old, and Alex Diminor, and he gets crushed. We're now stuck at 348 in the world. Honestly, Alex Diminor, known for killing pretty much anybody below him and getting killed by anybody above him, one of the best level testers on the entire ATP tour. Um, yeah, Cruz did not put up much of a fight there. How'd you feel about that little mini run by Cruz Hewitt, though?
Listen, I think it's so funny that he got the two retirements in qualifying. But then obviously, he had a great first round win against Giron. That was nice to see him solidify. Um, the tennis game is so brutal because even though he makes those runs, he's still only at like 350, whatever you said, and he's still got a ways to go. He's not going to make the top 100 before the end of the year. No question about that. And he's made so much improvement, but he's still got a ways to go. And that is just a credit to how tough it is to climb in the rankings. You really need to make like a final in a 500. Take someone like Bernard Tomic, who just
Where's the
qualified
tank
by,
engine?
sorry, he was a lucky loser in Los Cabos, and then he wins the first round against a qualifier, then crushes Hachinov. So he's in the quarterfinals, and then he got crushed by Cam Norrie. But he still only moved up like 13 spots to 152 in the world. And it's like this guy has just had his best result in years, and he's barely moving up any spots. So it's just like, it's so crazy difficult to move up in the rankings in men's tennis. And another thing that I think should be discussed that I don't like is if you retire or you withdraw in your last round of qualifying and then you get into the main draw as a lucky loser, I don't like that one bit. I don't think
Yeah,
that,
you should not be allowed to play. And to be honest, the UTR tennis series actually has a much better rule on that, where if you retire at any point during the competition, you are eliminated from the tournament.
yeah, you have to
Um,
be. You have to because
yeah,
I don't know who it would go to. I guess it should go to someone who lost in the first round. But Yeah, ultimately,
Just
was nice to see Tomic back. Nice to see
yeah,
Hewitt get a win. But yeah, it's
Australian
all
tennis, baby. Making a little
Australia.
move. A lot of tennis programs are actually making a move lately, I should say. I mean, obviously, Italian tennis stronger than ever. We had Berrettini and Arnaldi in like semifinals or quarterfinals, Caboli in a final, Sinners being Sinner. We've got French tennis kind of making a little bit of a move lately. Australian tennis looking all right, although their poster boys, Diminor and Kyrgios, really kind of going off a cliff. And then we got American tennis, which we'll discuss in a minute. It also exists. It is, in fact, it's there. That's about the best we can say about it. But I want to go back to something that Edik had mentioned in the previous episode. Two of the big names in tennis, top 20 players, Alex Diminor and Tommy Paul, both got married. Congratulations, Tommy Paul, to his longtime influencer girlfriend. Um, Paige, I
Age,
don't remember her old
Lorenz
last
or
name.
something.
Lorenz, her new last name is Paul. And Alexander Diminor to his longtime WTA tour girlfriend, Katie Bolter. They seem like they will last. But I don't know. I assume Katie Bolter's keeping her last name. I don't think she's on tour as Katie Diminor from what I noticed. Totally fair. But both of them came out flat as all can be in that tournament in DC. Looked not great. Diminor kind of gets a win or two against some crappy players. Or crappy's a bad word because I support Cruz Hewitt, but some players that are not top competition by today's standards. Tommy Paul goes out in straight sets to Kamil Majrzak, who does, in his defense, often compete with some top players, but nonetheless, a loss that he should not usually take. How did you feel about those performances and the potential wedding hangover, honeymoon hangover for those guys?
Yeah, listen, I think it's tough to, especially on tour, to have a wedding. I don't know why you would have it in the middle of the year. Just push it off till like December or something. But I guess they want to have like a summer wedding. But yeah, I think the bigger talking point is just like the lack of success from the American men at this DC tournament. Of course, you got Fritz, who's in the final today against against Hodar.
Rafa Hodar.
Yeah, but and Nakashima made the semis, but Tommy Paul went out early. Jerome obviously lost first round against Hewitt. You also had, Mickelson who lost to Fritz. Tiafoe went out first round. Shelton went out.
In his home
Pavivo.
tournament, I should add Tiafoe. I
Yeah,
saw a stat, DC, that's where he's from, and he actually performs piss poor in that tournament.
really
Uh
interesting.
yes, apparently Tiafoe has a very poor record in DC. And to be fair, not everybody plays better. You often think that's home court advantage, but some people play better with the odds stacked against them and get nervous when their friends and family are around. They feel like they have to perform. Um, so yeah, very interesting that Tiafo actually, I believe, has even a negative record in DC all time. Um, but yeah, struggle from plenty of the Americans. Taylor Fritz, and the irony after we see these marriages and the players falling off, Taylor Fritz just coming off a 6-year relationship with his girlfriend Morgan. Once again, don't know the last name. I'm sure Edik does. Um, but girlfriend of a very long time. They
Morgan
seem
Riddle. Morgan Riddle, right?
no, that's like a athlete. Is it? Probably
Pretty
is. That's
sure.
what I was thinking too. Anyway, comes off a long relationship with his girlfriend, and he seems to obviously be struggling as anyone would. But his tennis game has improved in recent weeks. I think it's just I don't think it's anything of her holding him back by any means. I just think it's like it's all he has to focus on. Well, obviously he has a child that no one ever discusses for some reason, but Um, besides the child that doesn't seem to be in the picture of the public eye a ton, he seems to have a lot of time for tennis, and he's locking in. He's in the finals today. He plays Rafa Hodar, obviously one of the big three players coming up, along with Jakob Mensik and Joao Fonseca. What do you expect out of the final today? Fritz is straight. Can't speak English anymore. Fritz, a slight favorite.
I'll take Fritz in 2 sets only because Hodar had a really tough, brutal match last night to get through against Tabilo. And they played earlier this year in Del Rey before Hodar had really made a big, jump. And Fritz handled him pretty easily in 2 tight sets. I just think that
Sure.
This is Fritz's tournament to win. And he does well in these, Del Rey, DC type tournaments where there's a lot of Americans. He feels like the top dog. I expect Fritz to have a great summer. He got rid of Morgan, no pun intended, and I could see him even going to the finals of the US Open. If he were to play Zverev again, obviously he lost to him in Wimbledon, but he was hurt. I still believe he has Zverev's number. And I think that he is ultimately still the most mature and dependable. He might not have the biggest upside, like if you compare him to someone like Shelton.
Learn Tiana Michael Zhang.
Right, he might not have the biggest upside, but he's still the most dependable and experienced US player.
I should also mention that I recently learned looking through stats, he has the second highest hold rate on the entire ATP tour, second to only Jannik Sinner. Part of what makes his game so solid. But yeah, Fritz in the final today, I also expect a win out of him. And once again, per usual, we're on to the much more varied and much deeper WTA side, where a player who honestly I had negative zero belief in, not really sure of Edik's view, but she's people love to love her, they love to hate her, and it's mostly because of her fandom. I don't think it has a ton to do with her as a player. But in the finals, we have none other than Alexandra Iola of the Philippines coming through a flurry of impressive victories against an incredibly mega ultra depressingly washed up Quinn Wenzing, whose wrist does not allow her to sustain full tennis matches anymore. Alina Svitolina, who seemed much more interested in being home with her child than out on the tennis court. Not that I can blame her 100%, but Edik and I discussed during the match, seemed more intrigued on showing up for an appearance fee than trying to win a tennis match. And the ever mentally inconsistent but incredibly talented Naomi Osaka. Quite a flurry of wins by Alex Iala. She's now in the finals in DC, playing against an incredibly consistent mainstay in women's tennis, the American, who actually they come through on the women's side at least. Thank goodness, the American women they make up for the American men. Jessica Pegula. What do you expect out of that match today? I told Edik, I said there's going to be a lot of flat hitting. Uh, how do you expect those rallies to look? Will you be watching? Who wins?
Certainly going to be watching shortly here. Ayala has been mega impressive, taking out also Fernandez this week. She is so
Oh yeah, the
impressive.
Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, she is so impressive in the sense that she's a scrapper, right? She just gets to a lot of balls. She annoys the opponents. She probably hits at least 500 shadow swings every single match. Um, she goes to her box like she won a Grand Slam after winning every single match. And yet, everywhere she goes, the Filipinos somehow show up and support her, and she's getting over the line. I was stunned that she beat Osaka, quite frankly. And, I wouldn't put it past her to beat Pagula today. Now, do I expect Pagula to win? Yes. But Iala is someone that is continuing to rise. Can she get into the top 15? Like, is this actually a possibility if she does with that serve? And she's just a really hard worker. And that's all I'm gonna say. She's a really
Yeah,
scrapper and hard worker. She has a great fan base. And she does seem like a sweet girl. But boy, oh boy, did some of those players just come in and were mentally defeated before the match. Um,
yeah. And
Svitolina.
I will agree. She's been very impressive. Um, when the Filipino fan base, they show up in droves. There was a poll recently about who was going to be the star of the summer for the WTA. They posted on their page, and I believe it was probably Rage Bait. It had Noskova, it had Iala, it had one other player. Iala got about 83% of the poll. The comment sections were pissed because they knew that the Filipino fans would show up in droves there. But guess what? If they're gonna show up in droves and you can't watch them, you can't watch Iala fall outside the top 100. The next best thing, or maybe even the best thing, I'm a little bit of a hater of fans that overhype a player. But if the player is not going to fall off, you like them to live up to the potential that the fans see in them. And it does seem like Yala is beginning to live up to that potential. I will say that the eye test for me, it doesn't really always pass. It maybe passes more than a fraudulent player such as Jasmine Paolini, who I was just waiting on her downfall patiently for about a year. Um, I should also preface real quick because I don't want to come off like a major hater. I told this to Edik last night. Any hate I have for players is purely a discrepancy between how high fans rate them and how good I think they are. If I think a player is not that good and everybody tells me all day, every day that they're great, it frustrates me because I know what I see as a fan, as somebody that I feel like can read the game. So I just like players to kind of be about where they belong skill wise. But it's interesting because Yal is a hard one to judge, and she's such a fighter, and she's got such a good mental game. She comes through so many tight matches and tight situations. If it happens once or twice, it's a scam. If it happens 10, 15 times, it's just she's a warrior, and you gotta love a warrior. So I'd
Yeah.
love to see what she does. Jess Pagula is one that either tanks out in the first round to a player ranked 150 in the world from like a massive favorite position, or goes on to win a final usually. Once she's in her rhythm, she tends to take care of business. So I do also expect Pagula today. I think that the flat hitting is going to produce a lot of three ball rallies and incredibly boring tennis, but we'll see if I'm proven wrong. I will not be watching. I'll be asking Attic for updates.
Yeah.
So on the men's side, real quick, I'm going to go back there. I got two more things, and I apologize because I got a little bit mixed up on the order. ATP Los Cabos goes to Arthur Gaya, the Frenchman. He was down 6-0 in the first set. He lost the first set 6-0 to Michael Zhang, the American, the round of 16. Ends up clawing back to win that match after saving four break points at 4-all in the second set. Then goes down a set and a break point to Francisco Cerundolo. Fights back to bagel him in the third set. Then kind of cruises his way to the finals over Coleman Wong and Denis Shapovalov. Number one, how impressive was that in French tennis with Luca Van Asche winning a title over on clay? We've got Arthur Gay winning a title, and Quentin Alice, a player that I think is actually quite skilled and just had huge mental issues, finally grabbing a title. French tennis impressing, yes or no? And should they just do away with Los Cabos? Clearly, nobody gives a flying fuck about that tournament, and it always produces some of the oddest results known to man, and it's getting in the way of DC as well.
Man, is there any bigger disappointment than Denis Shapovalov? I mean,
No, no,
guy
there's not.
was
There's
highly,
no bigger
highly
disappointment.
touted. And when he came on the scene and beat Nadal in Canada, and I mean, to see where he's at now, he can't even defend his title in Los Cabos. Yeah, let's get rid of Los Cabos. I don't need that tournament. I mean, I saw the results, but I've only been watching DC. I
Oh, I
mean,
watched
what
Los
a
Cabos, man. I
disappointment.
mean, we seeded players and then immediately lost Franz Cerundolo 6-0 in the third set. We lost Kachanov in the first round to Tomic the Tank Engine. Bernard Tomic, by the way, probably one of the most fun players to watch of all time. Uh, I can't explain his game. You just got to watch him to see him. If you haven't watched him, turn on one of his matches. Beats Karen Kachanov in the first match in straight sets, dismantles him. Very impressive. Goes up 1-0 love 30 against Cam Norrie, ends up losing 1-0 in about 40 minutes. Lost a couple games in under a minute time on the clock. They don't call him Tomic the Tank Engine for nothing. He completely gave up mentally and physically. And yeah, I mean, he's one. I feel like if the ATP tour was the type of tour to intervene, they'd keep him from ever getting too high up because he's quite a controversial character, although seemingly a nice guy and very fun to watch when trying. But yeah, top seeds get dismantled 1 through 4. We end up with Coleman Wong, Arthur Gay, Denis Shapovalov, Cam Norrie, who's a good player, but going deep. And yeah, Chapo's got to be the most disappointing talent you could imagine. He's so dynamic. He's so talented. He's so skilled. massive shot making abilities, athletic. He's got a lefty, the huge one handed backhand that he can direct wherever he wants. And then you just see this man mentally crumble into a little ball, play way too fast for himself, double vaults a zillion times, shank errors left and right, give up and just hand matches away, like purely hand matches away, a la his double break lead on grass court to Chilich earlier this year in a match that he ultimately lost. Um, I agree, do away with Los Cabos. It's basically worthless at this point. Let the players focus on Washington. Nobody wants to be there. And that's no disrespect to Los Cabos, the place. It's just purely not that I've been there, but it's just purely based on the timing of the season and the lack of turnaround and all that stuff. So now we're looking into the Masters 1000 season. We've got Montreal for the men, Toronto for the women, followed by Cincinnati for the men and women. And Yannick Sinner, who I believe has won every M1000 this season, in a testament to the lopsidedness of the current state of the men's game, has chosen to sit out the men's 1000. Now, obviously, when you're a player of Yannick Sinner's caliber, the goal is Grand Slam or bust. But that being said, is handing away a streak that impressive really worth skipping away? Or do you still just focus on the ranking points, the money, and the career accolades at that point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, ultimately, Cincinnati has an issue because they are running into the problem that all the top players are now not coming there because they feel like they need more time from Wimbledon to get ready to the US Open, in Cincinnati specifically. I feel like he should have played, because it would have been nice to see him make an effort to win all of the 1000s. I mean, wow, if he did that, in one calendar year, that would be such an accomplishment, right? That's going to be extremely difficult to match. But he's not going to be there. I know that one of the reasons why they don't want to go there, and I know you wanted to bring this up, is that the Masters 1000s now are 12 days long, right? And rather than being a
There
week.
goes Nate's drop or lob question. Time to improvise.
Sorry about
Proceed
that.
though. Proceed.
Sorry about
It's a
that.
bit no, it's okay. I
Yeah,
love
I
when
just I just think
Attic
that one of
ruins my
the
podcast format for his own enjoyment. Stay up
one of the
all night, no sleep, just planning, making notes, preparing, making sure we put the best podcasts possible in front of the viewers. And what does Attic do? Just jumps off script, steals my notes. I know he's looking at them. I know he sees what's coming up next. Complete disregard to all the hard work I put in. Honestly, there's nothing more disrespectful than Edik doing that besides anything Rafa Hodor does on court
Hey man,
when a ball kid is
um,
involved.
hey man, I'm just trying to give the content that the people want to see. But going back
It's
to my
okay.
point, is that these longer Masters 1000s really get in the way of players and their preparation for other tournaments. And obviously, that's not going to change. But like I said, Cincinnati is going to be in big trouble, if they don't, do something soon here. And I just, before we get into drop it off, I wanted to make one more point. Okay, one point is very important that unless you're at an extremely high level, people don't understand this. Okay. Before a match ever happens, both players know who's going to win and who's going to lose. Okay? Now, there's players that still go out there and compete like Svitolina did, but they do so in a way where when it gets tight, they lose it because they already predetermined that they were going to lose the match. But they're just going out there to collect the paycheck and that they know, some little points. I'm going to make it seem like I have a chance here, but they never really had a chance. So I just wanted to say it's not tanking, but it's a different form of tanking when you know you're going to lose and you still go out there. But you compete to make it seem like you're competing, but you're really not. So I just wanted people to know that.
It's a mental tank. I wouldn't call it like a fix or anything, or like it's more so just a player that's burnt out for one reason or another and
Yep.
just not ready to not ready to play. whatever. Which honestly, speaking of the burnout, speaking of the tank, it's perfect time. Are you ready to do some drop or lob?
I'm ready. Give it to me, baby.
So you and I, we both have Instagram. We're both people in our 20s. We see what people post. And lately, Carlos Alcaraz, he's been everywhere. He was at the World Cup. He's rocking some braids. He's going around to some boats, some parties, some friends, family, girlfriend, having the time of his life as a 6 or 7 time major champion who's only like 22 years old should be able to do. We've watched the Alcaraz documentary. We know that he doesn't love that he's been forced into the tennis grind day in, day out since he was 13. He loves the game, but he wants to be a normal guy as well. Drop or lob that Alcaraz is sitting out at this point just because he wants to experience life and the risk is already better.
I'm gonna lob that. I'm gonna lob it. Um, he looks fine. He looks fine. He's hitting the ball. He's getting haircuts every other day, with his new dreads look. Um, and honestly, at this point, he's more of an influencer than a tennis player, right? He went from
For
golfer
now.
to influencer to tennis player. I don't know. Tennis is a sport of activity, right? You need activity to be competing at the highest level. And obviously he's extremely elite, but I think it's not gonna be so easy when he comes back. I really do.
Eh, And I do disagree there. I think that for a guy like Alcaraz, it'll still be easy when he comes back. And I'm not saying the risk is at 100%. Like, we've already discussed in previous episodes how good he will be after a wrist injury because it's something that tanks a lot of people. But we've also seen over time that somehow elite athletes seem to have that superhuman healing ability that even the 99.9% don't have what the 99.99% do have. So I do think ultimately Alcaraz will come out okay, but I think he might just be out there having some fun right now. I think Edik and I would differ on that view. I can't blame him. Edik's probably upset with him. So be it. Then I had a note here about Masters 1000s, but we'll throw that out the window. We'll trash it. We'll just throw it away. It's fine. It's irrelevant now. We've already talked about it. It's over. It's done with. Drop or lob the video, and I just touched on it a second ago. The videos you've seen of Rafa Hodar's conduct with ball kids, with other people on court, drop or lob that Hodar's attitude is an issue.
Drop. I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's an issue. Like, you get people like this, like Putin Seva, that's like rude to ball kids. Like, I don't know, like it's the heat of the moment. Like, you kind of just gotta chill. The kid is obviously nice. It's just some things are going on during the match. Emotions are high, and winning, let me say something, winning solves everything. So as long as he wins, all this other crap won't matter.
I do agree with that. Um, do you watch the NFL, Edik, right?
Of
And
course,
I'm
I
sure
know.
some of our viewers do. Do you remember the infamous boat pick taken by my favorite New York Giants way back in 2013, 2014, where
I,
they all posed on a boat together and then proceeded to suck for like 13 years straight afterwards?
I do remember that.
How do you feel about a repeat of that with an infamous wedding pick from Tommy Paul's wedding, tanking American tennis? Ever since Tommy Paul got married, everybody not named Taylor Fritz, and I don't even believe Nakashima was at this wedding.
No, no.
And obviously, there's an age gap between a lot of the players. Some of the younger guys, I don't think Ben Shelton was there either, actually. But it seems that the majority of the guys that attended Tommy Paul's wedding promptly forgot how to play tennis shortly thereafter. Drop or lob that Tommy Paul's wedding has tanked or cursed American tennis for months to come.
Lob, lob, and I'll add on to that. We might not have an American men Grand Slam winner by 2030. We,
2040 at this point, man. We're waiting for
I mean,
Jordan or Michael.
there's just
We're
no.
waiting for Jordan Lee and Michael Antonius at this point, man. We're tanking for draft picks if American tennis was a team. We're trade the
I
whole
don't see
team
it
away, man.
happening. I don't see it happening.
Um, Rapid fire. because I don't have more drop or lob. Name every country with a better tennis program than America on the men's side currently.
Every country in Europe and every country in South America, except for Venezuela.
I think if I'll rapid fire it real quick. We're going off script. We've got Spain, better.
Yes.
We've got France,
Yes.
Argentina,
No.
Italy.
Yes.
Nathan's really bad at naming countries in
England.
that. England, no.
Oh, by the way, Jack Draper is literally just a travel agent at this point. He goes to every single country and then withdraws from the tournament. Some tournaments are stupid enough to give him a wild card. And then I see videos of ATP posting these super intense workouts. Like, hey man, you need to play a tournament now. Okay? Like, this is pathetic. All right? You are not an ATP player. All right? And why are you practicing that hard? How about you save it for the match? Or how about you suck it up and just play the goddamn match? Because I see you playing practice sets with Arthur Feast and ping pong with Andy Murray at the City Open, and you still don't play. Okay? I'm done. This is done. We're done. This episode is finished. Jack Draper is really grinding my gears.
Yeah, and also a practice set that he beat Ben Shelton 6-1 and then retired an hour later from DC. Let's see if Jack Draper actually ends up playing in Canada or in Cincinnati. If not, yeah, we'll see. But clip that, drop your lob to end it, bring the podcast back more consistently.